Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Barry, and today we're going to be talking about Canna. Now I know that I said that I was going to be going to Nat 3s and talk about Mandragora, but Rebirth Festival snuck up on me again, as it always does. So we're going to talk about Canna instead for now, and then we'll talk about Mandragora in the near future. So let's just go right into it. Real quick, thankfully she is a Nat 4, and being a Rebirth launch is a bit higher in the guide, so we don't have to scroll too much. Alright, so here we are with Fire. And, oh wait, so here's the Evo 1. Here's the Evo 2. And, okay, I skipped I should let the animations play. Alright, super cute. Super cute. And there we are with the Evo 3. Now, I really like the design of Canna for one. She's cool. She's a pop idol. All that, love it. And if you've seen her animations for her attacks, her 5-star, very cool. It's like Dance Dance Revolution sort of thing. Very cool, very cool. Anyway, here's the regular, and the variant, I like the variant because I like the purple hair. Looking at her stats, she is a balanced type, but her stats don't play like a balanced type. They're more like a tank. She has if we're looking at her as a balanced type, she has a really high HP stat and then low attack and defense. But if we're looking at her as a tank, then she has okay attack and defense, and she has like okay-ish HP as well. So there's that. Anyway, let's get to her skills. So first off, the leader skill for Canna is Azura's Spirit's Blessing, Blue Soul Recovery 20 to 25%, and it is essentially useless. So if you're going to be using a variant Canna, it's just because you like the color scheme. Personally, I would just, if I had variant 4-stars lying around, I would just save them for a different Rebirth Festival mon that would be more, or that would have a better leader skill to take advantage of. Then going on to the 3-star, we have Petrification, 70% 2 turns. Skillbooks make it 80%, and damn it, I closed the thing that had the damage boost for it. Let me bring that up in 1 second. Okay, I also paused for a moment because I swear, every time I try to record today, that's when people decide to make as much noise as they possibly can. Anyway, the Petrification gets a 20% damage boost, and then on 5-star we have Thirst, 80% chance to lower by 20% for 2 turns, and Skillbooks give a 20% damage boost there and make it 90%. So, as to where you can use her, 1, PvP. That's where she does her best. Having a 2-turn CC on 3-star is very good, and then AoE Thirst is pretty nice as well, especially because it is 20%, so your opponent would typically have to bring 2 morale boosters to kind of like counter that, but either way, it's nothing crazy. And then you can also use her for Tower of Chaos for floors 80 and 100 specifically, so you can get that 2-turn CC, though keep in mind, because her CC is Petrification, it is not ideal to use her in those places, just because doubling your opponent's defense will just slow down the run. But, well, actually I think it's double. I don't remember if it's double, but I think it is. It'll slow down the run, but it'll still most likely make it so that you'll still win. It'll just make it slower than if you were to use something like Stun or Shock or something like that. And how I would build her, I'd probably go HP Defense. HP Defense, because her HP is quite good, so she doesn't need as much investment there as she does with her defense. So normally I would recommend HP Defense, but this time around I'm going to go HP Defense. And then let's move on to Water. Let's scroll down real quick, here we are. So here's the regular. Very nice, I love the blues. And the variant, I like the purples as well. Oh, this is a tough one. I like them both. Yeah, so I think I'm going to go with a variant on this one. Looking at the stats, she is a defender. She has a good defense stat. Her HP is okay as well. Ideally, I would like it to be around 30k, but it's not far below, so it's still pretty good. Her attack, however, is fairly low, so don't expect too much damage out of her, but that's fine because what you're going to want to use her for, it's not for damage. Because, looking at her skills, on 3-star she has defense down, 80% 2 turns, skill books make it 90% and give a 15% damage boost. Then on 5-star we have attack down, 60% 2 turns, skill books make it 70% and give a 15% damage boost there. So, where you want to use her? Titans. She's a really good debuffer against the Fire Titan, so that's pretty much the only place you're going to want to use her. But the one thing that does hold her back is not that it has nothing to do with her skills or like what she can do, because she is really good at what she does, but what holds her back is the cost it takes to get her for what she does. Because we do have other mons like Water Lat that do the exact same thing she does. Of course, Water Lat's proc rates are a little bit lower than hers, but he does the same thing and is much less costly to make. So that's the one thing that really does hold her back. And then, of course, there's so many water, defense down, and attack down mons. And then we even have a couple other ones besides Waterlat that have both. So like Water Yeti, I know, has the reverse, so attack down on 3-star and defense down on 5-star. And things like that. So while she is really good at what she does, there's just a lot of mons that are more readily available and do pretty much the same thing. So there's that. But if you do really want to use her, you can build her HP defense or HP defense. Either would be good for her. So that's that. Let's move on to wood. Now, I love wood Canna, and I'll rant about it after we get into the skills and whatnot. But, well, not rant, but I'll gush about it when we get into the skills and whatnot. So here's the regular. Love the green hair and the green bird and all that. Here's the variant. Variant is nice, but I do like the regular one more just because the greens. Really good, really good. Now, looking at the stats, she's a balance type, and her stats are pretty okay for a balance type. Her HP is a little bit higher than normal, and then her attack and defense, well, not so much her attack. Her attack is pretty decent for a Nat 4 balance type. Her defense is a little bit lower than typical Nat 4 balance types, but not by much. So like the defense being a little bit lower and the HP being a little bit higher kind of evens it out. So yeah, overall, her stats are pretty okay. Then, looking at her 3-star, we have attack down 70% 1 turn, and then skill books make it 75% and make it 2 turns, and then also give a 10% damage boost. So lots of upgrades there for her 3-star. Then on 5-star, we have Courageous Strike on crit, and skill books give a 20% damage boost there. Where you'd use her, Titans. Titans is pretty much the only place you'd want to use her, and she does pretty well there, actually. With skill books, her attack down does become usable. Without skill books, it's really not worth it. It's not super helpful. You might as well just have a dedicated attack down mon. But with skill books, she's good enough for that attack down. And then, of course, her Courageous Strike will always be doing the damage, assuming she crits. And you can actually build her or set up your lineup in a way that she can do a lot of damage. So I use Wood Canna in my Titan team against Water Titan, of course. My Wood team against Water Titan, yeah. And her attack down is pretty reliable, but what really makes her so good for my team is her animation speed. So her 5-star animation is very slow, and I have her in the same group as a Wood Minicat, and Wood Minicat has exposed weakness on 3-star, and it is timed to where my Canna, if she ever gets her 5-star off, when Minicat gets its 3-star off, she'll be hitting that exposed weakness. And my Canna has hit, on average, probably like 10 to 12 mil with that lineup. And I'll showcase her gems and everything when after we go through the other ones. But just know, even though her attack isn't super crazy high, you know, she's not an attacker, right? She doesn't have like 3k attack, whatever. She can still hit really hard depending on your lineup and her gems. And how I would build her, you can go fully offensively. She is crit required, so she does need a square slot. So crit rate, attack, crit rate, attack, crit damage, something like that. and get your defenses from trinkets. I actually don't remember what gems that mine has, but we'll double check that, of course, as I said, after we get through the other two. And speaking of the other two, we're going to go on to light now. And scroll down real quick. Here we are. Alright, so here's light. Love the pinks in the regular. Here's the variant, and if it'll load, there we go. Just a basic blonde. I'm gonna go with the regular. I like the regular more. I love the unnatural hair colors, you know, for like anime stuff and whatnot. Anyway, looking at her stats, she is a tank. She has okay attack. Okay HP, okay defense, low attack, but it's alright. She's not expected to do too much damage. She is meant to just tank hits. Because looking at her skills on 3-star, we have Seal, 80% 2 turns. Skill books make it 90% and give a 20% damage boost. And then on 5-star, we have Shock, 60% 2 turns. Skill books make it 70% and give a 15% damage boost there. And where you want to use her, PvP. PvP is pretty much the only place she is viable. Though I do think it is worth noting that she would be so much better if her skills were flipped around. Having this AoE 2-turn shock is really good, but Seal on single target isn't that great. So that's what really holds her back. Seal is really good on AoE, but with single target it's not that great, whereas shock is really good for either. So if they switched, it would make her so much better. How I would build her, HP, defense, HP, defense, either can work. So there's not much to say with her. Another thing about if her skills were switched, it would have made her viable for TOC as well. But unfortunately, that's not the case. Let's go on to Dark now, though. Since there isn't really much to say there. And let's see. Did I pass? Yeah, I passed her. There she is. Alright, so here we have Dark. Very nice. Very nice. And the variant also... Oh, I like them both, damn it. I like them both. Now, I know I said I like the unnatural hair colors, but I also like dark hair. So, like, this one is really nice, too. And it has a lot of purples. But this one has the unnatural hair. It has, like, dark colors for the bird. And her dress is, like... Ah, damn it, this is a tough one. I'll go with the variant. Yeah. I'm still unsure, but I'm just going to say the variant for now, because I don't want to sit here and make you guys wait. Anyway, looking at the stats, she is an attacker. She has a good attack stat. Her HP and defense are okay as well. Nothing super amazing, but they're not low enough to where she's super, super frail. Looking at her skills, she has, on 3-star, she has HP Siphon, and then on 5-star, it's also HP Siphon, but this time it heals greatly, and it heals for the allies, and skill books give a 20% damage boost for both of those. Where you want to use her, PvP offense, does well there. Farming, though I should note that because of her slow 5-star animation, she won't do too well with increasing your run times, but she will also be very consistent being able to heal herself and your team, so it's kind of give and take there. She's also useful for GB10, DB7, and DB10 as well. Good for all those places for the same reason she's good for farming, though with those for like DB7 and DB10, the animation speed doesn't matter too much because most people will be doing manual for those places, so won't matter too much about the speed anyway. Then you can also use her for Titans as a dark attacker, but she will definitely fall off when you get like more Courageous Strike and Unflinching Strike mons, but you can get her to do some pretty decent damage. Being an HP Siphon mon, she'll be able to keep herself alive, and being a Dark mon, having that base 100 crit damage, she'll still hit fairly hard. With my Fire Succubus, who's also HP Siphon, I used in Titans for a while, and I managed to get her up to 3 mil before I swapped her out for something else. So there's definitely potential in damage there, but again, she'll fall off. Then you can use her in Dark Colossus as well, because she does go against the gimmick there of not being able to heal with that HP Siphon on 3-star, so very good. And then also for Light Colossus as well, just as a Dark Nuker. Her HP Siphon doesn't really matter too much, but just being a dark attacker, she'll do fairly well. And how I would build her, just fully offensively. She's not crit required, so she doesn't need a square. But being a dark mon, you're going to want to take advantage of that. Well, being a dark attacker, you're going to want to take advantage of that base 100 crit damage and build her with crit rate anyway. So definitely recommend building her crit rate, attack, crit rate, attack, crit damage, something like that. Yeah, and that's going to be it for going through them. Real quick, I do want to show my wood canna just so you can have an example of how she can be built. So I have her on the armor set, and I believe this is crit, attack, crit damage. Yes, so here's crit damage, attack, and crit rate. So now you might be wondering, she's crit required, her crit rate is so low. It's only at 70% after the 10% from base. But I do have her paired with a strong crit damage, crit rate lead with my Wood Garuda here. Gives 24 crit rate, so with that together it does end up being over 100% crit rate, so I was able to mitigate that. And just so you can see her stats, I realized I forgot to show trinkets. I'll show that as well. So her attack still doesn't end up being that high because her base attack isn't super great when compared to attackers. When compared to balance types, it's okay. Here's the trinkets on her. I believe they're all 4-star trinkets. The attack one is a 5-star. And ideally, I would like to switch that one out for one that has more crit damage and less resist. Just because it's not needed too much, since I do have her on the back line. And then this is 5-star as well. Okay, so yeah. That's an example of how you can build your Wood Canna if you decide to use her. Most people won't have a variant Wood Garuda. I'm aware of that. So ideally, you're going to want to get the crit rate a lot higher than I have mine. Thankfully, I was able to make up for that and still keep the gems set because this armor is a really good set and it's just really good. But anyway, that's an example of how to build it. Build Wood Canna. How I would prioritize getting the cannas. First, Wood Canna, just because she has been, when fully booked, she became such an amazing asset to my team. Without the books, she's not really worth, but using the skillbook fusion, you should be able to get her booked after quite a bit of time. So I still recommend going for it. I will be going for Wood Canna on my alt. So there's that. Next, I would put Dark because one, she is a really good mon. Very versatile in where you can use her. And she does well at what she does. She is pretty much a dark version of Light Snowy, which just means she is going to be doing more damage. And Light Snowy is very good as well. Next, I would put Fire. Now, I'll get into why I put Fire over Water and Light in a moment. But Fire is next because that 2-turn CC on 3-star is very good, and her 5-star is pretty good as well. Next, I put Light, just because... Now, Light would be higher than Fire if her skills were swapped. But because they're not, I put her below. But again, if they were swapped, she would definitely be much better than Fire. Then last, I'll put Water. Now, this isn't me saying that Water is worse than Fire or Light. No. I put Water last just because there are so many other more accessible options than her. She is really good at what she does, but there's really nothing that screams like, hey, you need Water Canna. You know, nothing screams that when you can just get Water Lad or Water Yeti or something so much more easily, and it'll be much more cost efficient to do so. But anyway, that's going to be it for the Canna video. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, all of that. The next one I do will be Griffin. I wanted to wait for the Griffin Rebirth to start so I can start pulling them, see their skillbook values, and then also so I can test out Barb Taunt a little to see how that works. And I've managed to do that, so that'll be the next one I do. But anyway, gonna wrap it up here. Have yourselves a good day, and I'll see you guys all in the next video.